It's unbelievable, but CNN just ripped the transcript from CBS before Bari Weiss even had a chance to break the news that there are lots of people losing their jobs and new ones being hired in a complete changeover of CBS. Brian Stelter leaking it all out there, and today we'll tell you what's going down and why a frown might be on the face of Bari Weiss. It turns out she might have saboteurs right next to her. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are here with breaking news, and we're going to get to it as fast as we can. The town hall for CBS has just wrapped up literally at the time of this release. But that said, the leaks were real, and it may indicate that Bari Weiss has a huge problem at CBS News. Everybody against her, and nobody trustworthy at all around her. It's Elon time at X, perhaps. Folks, what we need from you, click the like button, drop a comment down below, and it's time. Let's go with the breaking news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this out of Brian Stelter, who is leaking this early. And, you know, when somebody like Brian Stelter gets a hold of a leak like this, you'd imagine that Bari Weiss over at CBS News, preparing for this emergency town hall, that she has a very small number of people around her who would have access to this, which is to say that Bari Weiss has problems all the way to the top of CBS, I believe, giving this to Brian Stelter, leaking it to the public. Bari Weiss will not even have the ability to put this out there on her own. It's leaked hours and hours early. I'm not telling you it's good, bad, or ugly. I'm just telling you that's the situation for Bari Weiss. Here's what Bari Weiss is gonna say, according to Brian Stelter. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I need to start by acknowledging that there's been a lot of noise around me taking this job. I signed the paperwork for the free press, left my startup of 60 people, and walked in this newsroom 2 hours later. So let me start by saying I get it. I also get why in the face of all this tumult, you might feel uncertain or skeptical about me or what I'm aiming to do here. I'm not going to stand up here today and ask you for your trust. I'm going to earn it just like we have to do with our viewers. What I can give you is what I've always tried to give my readers as a journalist: transparency, clarity, straight talk. So here it is, as plain as I can say it. I am here to make CBS News fit for purpose in the 21st century. And it goes on to say all this stuff about what Bari Weiss is going to do. The bottom line, folks, as I look through this, and I've just had a few minutes to do so, the bottom line is Bari Weiss says that they're going to have a masthead, which is going to be a system that is not unlike what Bob Chapek did, sort of a battery to check all this stuff and make sure that it's available to go out before it gets up to her. We'll see how that goes. You know how it went with Bob Chapek. There was they revolted against Bob Chapek. She's also going to be promoting a new bench of contributors, and it's a big group of contributors. And she's promising to invest even more in revelatory journalism. Now, I don't expect in this list of the stuff she's going to say, I don't expect her to announce who's getting fired. And you shouldn't either, because that would be inappropriate to come in front of all your colleagues and say, by the way, Leslie Stahl and Scott Paley, you guys are out. See, you can go ahead and go to your desks. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you hear about despots in the Middle East, but I don't think Bari Weiss is going to do it that way. That said, this is the system that they have in place where they're going to be trying to make the news more accurate and bringing in a lot of influencers. Here's one of the things that she's going to say, apparently. Implicit in this message that our fellow Americans are smart and discerning. That is our job, to present people with the fullest picture and the strongest voices on all sides of an issue, and then trust them to make up their own minds. With trust in mainstream news organizations and the legacy press at historic lows, and it's not hard to understand why, many people have retreated to news sources that protect them from conflicting narratives. I don't need to name them. You know who they are. So this is going to go on and on. It talks about all the people that she's going to be bringing in. There's a lot to this. It's page after page after page after page. And but I think it changes on the way. Here are a few names for you. It says Charles Forelli, most recently deputy editor of the Wall Street Journal and Pulitzer Prize winner, will be brought in. Wendy Fisher, a newsroom leader across two news divisions with 30 years of experience. Adam Rubenstein, her trusted colleague from the New York Times and Free Press. Terry Stewart, and it keeps going and going about social media and all of this stuff. Guys, I'll be honest with you, because that's all I know how to do. I don't see the teeth in this. I'm worried that Bari is not up to the task. I know she's trying to be neutral, but she's going to have to get a little mean. And I don't see the mean in this. Culture, you sent this my way. I haven't had a long time to look at it, but one of the hard lessons that bosses have to have is that there are times that you have to say, this is not okay. And Bari, at least in these remarks, is not yet to the point. And I don't know what it's going to take, but you know what, Culture? If I had prepared page after page after page and it was leaked from my very small circle inside CBS, if that was leaked to Brian Stelter of all people, that would be the point I'd get mean.
Well, again, I mean, this is leaked remarks. We're not certain specifically what was said. There is leaked audio reportedly out there as well, as Business Insider is reporting. I mean, I'm like I said, the first thing, you said this is something it'd be nice for us to cover, so I immediately went looking for it, and come to find out, this is the kind of thing that only happens if you want to get something out in front of the press. Leaking to Brian Stelter, very specifically, is somebody on the inside, either pro or against Bari Weiss, leaked this on purpose. The White House would leak this kind of stuff. I mean, this is
you think okay, whoa. You think Bari Weiss herself leaked the transcript and video, or at least the transcript?
I don't know. I don't know if it was her specifically, and I wouldn't suggest that. I'm just saying that sometimes things are leaked for a reason, either because they're pro or because they're negative. And it's not uncommon, especially in politics, to get an early release to somebody. That what they call that is they send something out to soften the ground. And it's not the balance of the remarks. I mean, there's no way to prove it. We don't know what exactly she said. This is written remarks she clearly was going to use as the framework for the town hall. But supposedly there's an audio leak out there as well. So as this story develops, and we should be treating it as a developing breaking story, I'm sure we're going to get a clearer picture on not just what she said specifically, but on her tone. Because I think tone is going to be a major factor in this presentation, because she's talking to a room full of supposedly adults, and they have not been adulting very well, in my opinion. They haven't read the room. They haven't understood that, as she suggests in her remarks that are written here, nobody trusts us anymore. Do you know who said that? She's mirroring somebody else just a couple of weeks ago. We're only 2 weeks removed from the beginning of Tony Duckapel taking over CBS Evening News. He said the same darn thing in that 2-minute long, introduction video that I think was received rather well, especially by people like me. But she's also pointing out that they cannot stay in neutral, which is something you, Pro, have been on board with, and Jonas specifically have been saying they need new personalities from more trusted sources that move faster than the networks do. And that would be the independent journalist wing that she cultivated at a Free Press.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I don't know who got the original leak. It's just been brought to my attention, but Marvin, if anybody at CBS thinks that CNN and Brian Stelter have the best interests of Bari Weiss at heart, they're insane. So however this got to Brian Stelter, it didn't get to him by somebody who likes Bari Weiss, I don't believe.
Yeah, no. Bari Weiss has got a lot of, she's got an uphill climb ahead of her. One, she's taking over a news organization that nobody trusts anymore. Two, there are people embedded within that organization that are actively working against her. I mean, sabotage from within should not just be anticipated. It should just be expected and taken, as a definite at this point. That's why she needs to clean house. She needs an entirely new staff that's dedicated to the vision that she's bringing to the table. The fact that this leaks so fast just shows you just how many people in there are hoping to see her fail. Remember, she's an outsider making her way into legacy news. Therefore, she cannot be allowed to succeed, because if she's allowed to succeed, well, then every other editor-in-chief of every other major news organization might have to deal with a new media personality coming in and taking their job eventually.
That's a really good point. This entire situation, and especially someone like Brian Stelter, they're interested in the strength of the institution, not the goal of the institution. They are, whether or not the truth gets out there, they're more interested in maintaining this elitist, credentialist idea that we are the arbiters of the truth, as opposed to the actual truth itself.
Yeah. And I do want to remind the audience, Marvin is somebody who knows his stuff. He's credentialed in ways that almost no journalist outside of legacy media could be. He's been cited by the U.S. government. His writings have been cited by the U.S. government in terms of investigations into Disney. So Marvin knows his stuff when it comes to this thing. I also want to bring this to Jonas and to Ron, if I can go to this. I've been reading through as you guys have been talking. Double tasking, triple tasking, maybe. No problem, folks. But this is, we are way down into the pages of this. And here's where we get to the teeth I was requesting from Bari Weiss. Maybe. Still very nice. It says, here's how to think about it. We are the best capitalized media startup in the world. We have the talent, energy, and mandate to transform CBS News. And if we all do our jobs right, in a year's time, CBS News will look very different. So that is the way she's putting this, that she wants CBS News to be very different 1 year from now. And she's got a problem, Ron. She's got a lot of people at 60 Minutes who don't want it to look any different.
Well, there's a word that she used in that phraseology that may have ticked off a lot of people, and that is the word startup. Because if they are embedded in legacy media, that I would imagine to those who are tenured would be very offensive, because they believe, and I've talked to some of these people that like live in that bubble. They believe that when you said the arbiters of truth, that they absolutely believe they're right about everything. And if she is maybe using that as a gentle way to shake things up, yeah, I think the wording could be stronger. But I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's making a lot of people very, very uncomfortable right now.
Well,
Nervous.
if she's saying to them it's going to be different, I imagine somebody saying, I want to eat healthy, and then they have the dietitian there talking with them, and the dietitian says, guys, we're going to be so much different. You know, we're not going to be eating delicious cheeseburgers anymore. We're not going to be eating all the junk food we want. We're not going to go eat all the cupcakes at Disney World. By this time next year, we'll be eating kale and spinach puff and, you know, all those foods that you don't actually want to eat, that everyone that's super skinny pretends to like to eat, because they still have to go through the farce of pretending that this is actually food to get on with their lives. In this case, I think that her telling them they're going to be a different organization on the other side, there's an element within CBS News that would be very offended by the idea that the organization needs to change, especially someone like Scott Peely saying that Trump coming in and saying, no, release the entire tape. Like, that's offensive to them.
Well, because they like to highly edit it so they can get their narrative out there. Not
Exactly.
the truth, not the facts, not the legitimate information. But again, if she's looking at it this way, folks, this is how we need to look at CBS going forward. Because the key elements of any startup is to be disruptive. That is the primary motivation of a startup. They are a disruptive force that takes what you currently think about something and puts it on its ear. That's the whole plan. You know, they try to create a unique perspective, something that currently doesn't exist in the widest market that they can access. And that's the other thing. They are looking at what what needs customers aren't being, what those needs are and that aren't being served. That's a startup. Anybody who starts a startup, that's what their brain does. Those people, they look at problems differently. They're like, okay, you know, this is an industry, it's underserved. Why? What are the primary changes that can be made to make this more accessible to the largest group of people? They're doing it currently in AI, whether or not you want to observe that or not, but it's done in every other startup that's come along in the last 25 years. Whether it be the internet, that was a startup. Remember dial-up? Probably not, because you're all on broadband now. But you know, those were startups. Those were guys with a garage full of modems that they had to like specifically sign long-term leasing agreements with the telephone companies so they could get access to a twisted pear trunk that happened to be down the street on the corner. You know, and again, I know this because that was the industry that I was in at the time. So, as you know, when we talk about what Bari Weiss is doing, that's what she did to launch her media empire. She took something that was worth like $2.50, you know, the cup of coffee she bought that morning, and turned it into $150 million in the matter of what, 6 years?
And that's why she can't be dislodged, because CBS has invested $150 million into it. I mean, she would have to do something heinous. We're talking felonious for her to get out of there. And one quick reminder, folks, because they can't dislodge her, and she ends that transcript, that Townhall, apparently, by talking about the next 50 years. So that'll make them real happy.
Yeah.
What's going to happen after this? Well, according to NPR, after Rocky start, Bari Weiss to cut staff, add commentators. We see the addition in the town hall statements. The cutting staff, unlikely to be featured in there, but perhaps coming real soon, and that might mean doom for the Scott Paley Peeleys, the Leslies, and all the rest at 60 Minutes, who did everything in their power to stop Bari Weiss. And folks, we have come to the end yet again. Another video of excellence in the can. What a joy it has been to share time with you. We hope you enjoyed it as well. If so, consider clicking that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. And as always, drop a comment down below. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. Join a community dialogue today, just on down below. Folks, we are going to say farewell for now, but we will see you back for is more, and that's how many videos we put out every single day here on the Pro Channel. Hope you enjoy them all. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.